What's up guys, and welcome back to Too Much Tech, and in today's video we are going to be doing a full review of the DEATHADDER V2. The new 2020 version of Razer's most popular mouse is finally here. Let's see if it's good enough to compete with a lot of other mice that are out right now. The way that we're going to do this is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to give you guys my top 5 things that are the biggest improvements over the previous generations of the Razer DEATHADDER. Let's go and start with the first thing. The build quality is a lot better than the previous generations of the DEATHADDER. The build quality is better because you can definitely tell that the plastic feels a little bit better, and especially on the sides, the plastic and the rubber feel a ton better as well. It just feels a little bit more premium. I don't know what they decided to do, if it's a different kind of rubber texture or whatever the case is. It just feels a little bit better and gives you a bit better grip. One thing I will say about the DEATHADDER is that the shape has always been really comfortable, and I'm surprised that like a ton of mice haven't really been modeled exactly after the DEATHADDER. But for sure, the grips on the side, the buttons, the scroll wheel do feel a bit better than the old DEATHADDER. Number 2, the Razer Speedflex cable is 10 times better than the old cables they used to use on all of their old mice, and I'm glad that it finally made its way over to the DEATHADDER V2. It was much needed. That old thick Razer braided cable needed to go, and I hope it's done forever. It's fine if it's on a keyboard, but on a mouse, no, they need to use the Speedflex cable standard on all Razer mice going forward. Now, to be honest, it's not as good as like what you'll find on a Hottie or MM710, but it is still pretty good. Definitely good enough to where you don't need a mouse bungee as well. So if you don't really like having a mouse bungee on your desk, then this could be a good pick for you because it does work very well. The next thing that they improved is the weight. The weight is a little bit lighter than the previous generations. The old DEATHADDER used to be somewhere in the realm of pretty close to 100 grams. This is now a lot closer to 82 or 83 grams depending on your scale. And you can definitely tell the difference. Is it a huge difference? No. Is it noticeable though? Yes. And I'm glad that it is noticeable, and it is an improvement at that, so I'm glad that they did change that. Now I wish that it was a little bit lighter, but we'll get into that in just a bit. The next thing that is a ton better is the skates. The skates are a lot better than what used to be on the older generations of Razer mice as a whole. Like, they didn't used to be bad, but they definitely weren't great. Now these skates do feel just like the Viper, and they do feel really good. I don't feel like I need to change the skates at all. I'd be fine living with the stock skates if I was gonna make this my main mouse. As you can probably tell, they are pretty big, they're super smooth. More than likely it's the same kind of PTFE material that is found on the Razer Viper, which is probably why I share the same feelings that I don't really need or have the urge to replace these skates with something else. And last but not least, they also upgraded the sensor to the latest 5G optical sensor, as well as the mouse buttons to their latest optomechanical switches for mice. So it's the same switches that we've seen in the Razer Viper at first, these optomechanical switches, and they do sound totally different than the older mechanical switches. And of course they react a lot faster as well. Personally, I do feel like I haven't really been playing necessarily as good as I would with the Viper, but that's just because the Viper is lighter, and that's kind of what I'm used to now. That is going to be it for the 5 things that I think are much improved on the DEATHADDER. Do I feel that the DEATHADDER V2 is for me? Not anymore. I still love the shape. The shape is really comfortable, but I've got a few things that I want Razer to change for the DEATHADDER V3. Let's get rid of this old mouse button design because it's nice to have it integrated into the shell because they don't really wobble. But personally, at most mice that I've tested, there hasn't really been a ton of wobble, and that doesn't really bother me. But what does bother me is the amount of pre-travel before the switch activates. And I wish that they could reduce that by bringing the shell closer to the buttons and minimizing the amount of pre-travel that way. Number 2, the scroll wheel. I wish the scroll wheel was just a little bit smoother, just a little bit, not a lot though. The third thing, I wish that they would use better quality plastic because I do feel like on the MM710, after using that one for a really long time, and the Hottie as well, I still have yet to get shine. And on this one, I feel like I started to notice a little bit of that famous Razer shine that seems to happen on a lot of their products. To hopefully to avoid that, next time around they can use better quality plastic. And the last thing that I would love them to change lower the weight to like 70 grams or less, and that would be perfect, because 70 grams I feel like is the higher end. Maybe the 75 grams that the Viper is really close to is about the highest end of mice that I really like. That I noticed that after that, and they start to get a little bit more heavy than that, the weight really starts to bother me a little bit. And I noticed that I don't play as well too. And I'm not just saying that because the mouse feels like a brick, because it doesn't have that brick feeling that like a G502 has. Because sometimes I'll be playing a game and I'll be playing kind of not as good as I'm used to, and I'm like, all right, I got my hottie right there, let me grab that and try using it, and I instantly start playing better, start aiming better, start feeling better. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like, this is ridiculous. Because I thought that it would just be like a placebo effect, but it's definitely not. You definitely can feel the difference, and it will affect you. Can you get used to it? Yes, but once you go back to that lighter mouse, I guarantee you, you're gonna start aiming better. So Razer, just do it. Cut holes in the mouse, I really could care less. Cut them in the shape of the Razer snakes and whatnot. I think that looked pretty cool actually, and it probably make the RGB shine a lot better too. So do that, because I think that'd be pretty cool. But all right, you guys, that is gonna be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you guys are new. If you guys are interested in the Razer DEATHADDER V2, I will have this mouse linked in the description below. If you guys have any questions beyond what I answered this review, feel free to drop them in the comments below, or join our Discord and ask me and the group some questions there, and I'd be happy to let you know my further thoughts there. But honestly, I don't think that I'd be maining this mouse. It's just not for me anymore. But if you love the DEATHADDER that you currently have and you want an upgrade, I do think that this is a good mouse. All right, talk to you guys next video. Peace.